point we need to understand is the Bible is full of complicated and deeply flawed people. Do you know that? The Bible is full of complicated and deeply flawed people. Now, sometimes we call these people saints because we talk about the after part, but some of them really had difficult, crazy things going on, right? Noah, you're like, he built an arky, he brought the animals in, right? He saved the whole world, that whole thing. But right after that, do you know that Noah got drunk and some weird stuff happened? Noah is a deeply complicated, flawed character. Abraham, the father of many nations, was amazing. He's literally the promise that God is going to use to save the entire world. But do you know that he was a liar because he was afraid of what people thought about him? Do you know that because his wife gave him a little push, he decided to sleep with his servant to try and manipulate God's will? Now, I know you've never tried to manipulate God's will, hopefully not sleeping with your servant, which is a whole other conversation. But there's deeply flawed people in the Bible. You look at Moses, who delivers God's people right through the Red Sea. Sovereign Prince of Egypt, Mariah Carey and Whitney are both singing. It's a beautiful moment. But he's also a fugitive who murdered people. Moses is a deeply complicated guy. David, a man after God's own heart, right? Shepherd boy, we love him. Right? Until he saw a woman that wasn't his that said, she's going to be mine. He knocked her up. And then when he saw that she was knocked up, actually had her husband killed who was fighting a war for him. Deeply complicated, flawed people. Peter stood up at Pentecost and preached. 3,000 people got saved. I've never preached to 3,000 people. Peter was obviously the man, except that time he was too scared to say, I even know Jesus in front of a 12-year-old girl. The Bible is full of deeply flawed, complicated people. And so I just want you to know that if you're a complicated person going through some complicated issues and dealing with your sin, then you came to the right place and you're in good company. Because here at Searchlight, I don't want you to put on a filter. I don't want you to crop out the junk and deal with it by yourself. I want you to know this is a safe place to come as you are and meet the living God. And when we leave from the presence of the living God, we will leave different because we've encountered him. And that's the goal of coming to church and meeting with Jesus. And so we're in good company if you're jacked up and screwed up, because this is who they let on stage. God only uses imperfect people because that's literally all there are. And so as we approach this series, my request of you is not be perfect. It's let's be honest. No filters, no cropping, no reshoots. Let's be honest about who we are, and then we can become who we're meant to be in 2023. And I'm grateful for a God that's comfortable with me and all my complications and has compassion on me when I'm an idiot. Is anybody an idiot in 2022? Don't point. But some of you have things to work on, and we're going to do that. But before we can actually work on anything, we have to be honest about what's going on in our life. And I'm thankful that God is better at forgiving than I am at sinning, even though I'm really good at sinning. And so when we read the Bible, we're tempted to sugarcoat or idolize some of these very flawed people. But it's the flaws that make them meaningful, because the flaws show us that God can and will use anybody. So here's my challenge. Number one, be honest. And number two, I'm going to challenge you this next couple of weeks to lose the filter. To lose the filter. As we talk about the Bible, as we talk about life, to not think about this is a good sermon for somebody else, to not think about, oh my gosh, I could totally use this, when I was younger, or some teenager needs to hear this. Like, don't think about how you have kind of hidden away the edges, but be honest and lose the filter, because we're going to talk about some real things. And hopefully, when we deal with them, we can actually change those things about them. We may impress people with our filter, but listen to me, you will connect with people through your flaws.